pressure because now I'm wondering what I'm going to say, if it's going to meet all those expectations, Paul. But welcome, everyone. I have to say that the topic of today was one which I have thought of for quite a while and wondered whether we should tackle it. And in the end, between Pascal and myself, we thought that it's actually something that we need to look at. So let me start by thanking you for joining us this evening and welcoming you once again for our session of training for today. And as always, it's a great pleasure to have this opportunity to share with you. At the same time, it's also a hope of mine that the information that we'll pass on will be of use to you in your personal capacity, but also in your circle of friends and circle of influence. So as your invitation will have told you, today I'm speaking about substance abuse. It's an unfortunate topic to have to be talking about, but because it is one that is becoming more and more prevalent in our society today, and including here on our continent of Africa, but we also know in the various other places in the diaspora where people are listening to us, that it's a problem that we are coming across more and more. And the most unfortunate, especially that our young children and our people close to our hearts may be involved in substance abuse. And so I just want to start from the beginning to say that there will be professionals who are equipped to deal with the subject of substance abuse and who will be able to help. And of course, this is the first stop where a person should go if we suspect substance abuse, to get professional consultation. But also, being an African myself, I'm quite aware that often the services are not adequate, and we may find sometimes that we do not know where to turn. And as always, as distributors in Neolife, I find that it's a good thing for us to have at least some idea with which we can help to support the people we come across who come to us for help. And we also know that this subject of substance abuse has got quite a bit of stigma attached to it in our African context. But as distributors, I would recommend that we refrain from making judgments and simply be ready to offer help, information, and our products to anyone who is committed to recovering from this situation. So we don't make the judgment. We are here to help whoever, because we say we don't care about your past. We care about where you want to go. So wherever you have been and whatever has happened there, the most important thing is where you want to go. And if we as Neolife distributors, as your friends and fellow human beings, fellow Africans, we would like to help wherever we can. So I thought I would start the session with some definitions, because maybe for many of us, this is not an area where we are very conversant. So I thought the definitions will also give us some information that might be useful. So the first item I wanted to give a definition to is the term substance abuse. So substance abuse is a periodic excessive use of recreational or prescription drugs. So the substance abuse can be periodic, that it is not continuous, just periodic. Then the second one I wanted to define is addiction. So addiction is defined as a compulsive or obsessive drug-seeking and drug-using behavior in spite of serious consequences. So when we reach the stage of addiction, we move from periodic excessive use, it moves to being compulsive or obsessive. And it happens whether there are serious consequences or not. Then the next one I wanted to define was substance dependence. So substance dependence is a process by which the body comes to rely on a substance in order to feel a certain way. So the body now feels that without this substance, it cannot be okay. So that is how we define substance dependence. And then dependence itself can have two aspects. The first aspect is physical dependence, in which the body itself relies on substance to function normally. And then we have psychological dependence, which is an emotional or mental attachment or reliance on on substance use, and the person would be preoccupied mentally when even when they are not using the substance. They are actually thinking about it, thinking how to get it, dreaming about how it would feel when they have it. So it becomes a mental preoccupation when it is psychological dependence. And this psychological dependence can even continue after the person has stopped abusing the substance. So that is dependence. Then the fourth thing I wanted to describe is withdrawal. So withdrawal is when quitting the substance which is being abused, there will often be unpleasant or even dangerous side effects that come about when the person stops abusing the substance. So that the withdrawal symptoms can range from being just unpleasant to being life-threatening. So in some cases, there can be fits. A person can get seizures or fits. A person can actually need urgent emergency medical care. This happens if, let's say, the person has been heavily abusing and for a prolonged period, so that the body has become so dependent and so very so deep in its need for the substance. Then so withdrawal there is the initial stage of withdrawal, which is called the acute phase, when, for example, if it is someone who has been abusing alcohol, they would be trembling and sweating and having certain mental aspects that will be taking place because they are having a very hard time not having alcohol in their system. And this is the acute withdrawal phase is the one which actually is very dangerous and can in fact even lead to death. So for that reason, of course, it's not advisable to just jump into stopping the use of a drug that has been heavily used for a long period of time. It may be necessary to seek the attention of a professional so as to reduce the danger if the withdrawal effects are very, very bad. Then the next thing I wanted to define is the turning point. So the turning point is the point where the person wants to eliminate the substance they've been abusing as a coping mechanism. So their target now is not to find the substance, but rather to eliminate it. So that is called the turning point. And before this point has been reached, usually any efforts to intervene or any interventions will be ineffective because the person will still be focused either on experiencing the substance or obtaining the substance. But once the turning point is reached, then it is more possible to help the person to get out of substance abuse. Then the next definition is about substance detox. So substance detox is a process of eliminating the substance from the body. And of course, this is the beginning of the process of recovery. And as I've said, it can have some quite unpleasant symptoms. So that is the detox. It's of course different from the detox we normally speak about of simply cleaning our body systems. This is when there is actually an abused substance that we are trying to remove from the person's systems and body. And of course, the severity depends on the substance itself, the amount being used, and the period that it has been abused. Then the next definition is recovery. So recovery is a process of recovering from dependence or addiction to the substance. Then the next one is relapse. Relapse is a brief or prolonged period during which substance abuse comes back. And this is after recovery the recovery process has started. If the person goes back to using, we call it a relapse. But once a person reaches a turning point, a lot of support and encouragement is needed, but it is also crucial to understand that a relapse is part of the process of recovery, because after using the substance for a long time, it is not so easy to just stop all at once. It may be possible here and there, But for many people, the attachment to the substance might be such that sometimes they might relapse. That is why support is very important, and family support is actually quite important. Whether the person is admitted in a place where in a rehabilitation center, or they are attending during the day at maybe a charitable organization that is offering such services, the family support is very important, and the community support, because in the end, the person will come back to live in that family or in that community. And the support is important for their success, so that they can successfully be restored to themselves and to their society. Then the last definition I wanted to make was for something called post PAWS, post addiction withdrawal syndrome. This one is something that happens a while after the person has stopped using the product, the substance for a long time, but they continue to feel empty, and that their life has no meaning, and they have no enthusiasm and no energy. They feel depressed and irritated, because it's as if something important in their life has been removed and they do not find anything to replace it with. So unfortunately, if the person does not get support and alternative positive things to do, this is the time when it's quite easy to go back into using the substance or relapsing into substance abuse. So after those definitions, which I hope have been helpful, of course, there's a lot to know about this, but I hope that those have clarified for you a little bit. I wanted to speak about nutritional deficiency in people who abuse substances. And this is why we have this topic as Neolife Distributors, because maybe you are aware of this, that nutritional substances play a very important role in successful recovery from substance abuse. So how does nutritional deficiency come about in substance abuse? There are 5 ways in which a person who is abusing substances can have nutritional deficiencies. The first one is when one is abusing substances, they make poor dietary choices. So it could be, the poor choices could be because they feel that any money which they have should be used for buying the substance, and so they spend as little as possible on food. Or they may find that when they are using the substance, they only want certain kinds of food, and so for that reason, they will tend not to have a good diet. And of course, some of the substances also will cause them to lose their appetite, and also sometimes it's just a matter of ignorance that the person is not aware of the importance of the diet. So that's the first reason why there would be nutritional deficiencies in someone who is abusing substances. The second one is that some of the nutrients can be depleted as the body is trying to detox from the substance being abused. So remember our bodies, we spoke about the organs which are involved in detoxing our bodies. We spoke about some time ago, we spoke about the kidneys, we spoke about the liver, and so on, the skin. All these are organs that work to remove toxins from us. And of course, the substances which are abused are toxic to the body. And the body is always struggling to keep those substances from overwhelming it. And so for that reason, the way what the body uses for detoxing is actually the nutrients that we are taking in. If there is a lot of this substance in the body, it means that there is a lot of nutrients that are going to be expended in detoxing from the substance. This is on a day-to-day, not that the person has stopped using the product, the substance, is that the body is trying to keep the substance from poisoning the systems. So let us say the person is abusing alcohol or abusing cocaine or heroin. The body will always be trying to keep to take these things out so that it doesn't get killed. And even though the person will continue taking them, the body itself will continue trying to remove them. And some of the things that the body uses for this is actually the nutrients from our diet. For that reason, of course, these nutrients are going to be depleted. Then another reason why there is nutritional deficiency is the craving of junk food. So some of the substance abusers crave junk food, foods which are rich in sugar, foods which are not at all healthy, but this is what they would be wanting to eat. And maybe this would be what is easily available for them. So that we know that the junk food is very bad for our health and has got very few nutrients to give us. So that then that would also cause deficiency. Then the third thing would be that some of the abused substances interfere with our body's ability to absorb the nutrients that we require, because many of them damage the gut. So even though they may be taking the food, they may not have the ability to absorb it. And then, of course, the fifth thing is that abused substances may cause the body to flush out some of the nutrients that are needed. So the body passes them out as if they are not needed, but actually they are not needed. So those are some of the ways that nutritional deficiencies come into the body of someone who is abusing substances. So some of the issues that can be related to or can lead to substance abuse include the following. So certain illnesses can result in substance abuse. So for example, if someone has got mood disorders like bipolar or depression, or someone has anxiety disorders, they get very anxious, or someone has a mental illness like schizophrenia, or someone may have a painful disease or injury that requires that they take very strong medication. By using those strong pain medication over time, they may become dependent on them and they may even start abusing them. Then another cause that is related to substance abuse is childhood trauma. We know that children can undergo terrible traumas, and because they are young, they may not be able to deal with that trauma at all. They may not understand it. They may not understand why it's happening. And they may internalize that trauma. And later on, as adults, it may start manifesting itself, and they would not know how to deal with it. Still, what they would do is start maybe trying to cope using these addictive substances. Then another reason can be that the abused substance someone can start with, let's say, a substance that does not seem so serious. Like maybe in high school, they may start experimenting with smoking here and there, but with time, the cigarettes lead to maybe the use of cannabis, and from cannabis, they go to ever stronger drugs. So that is another way in which a childish experiment can be the gateway towards a very serious problem. So then I think now I'll go to our Neolife side and how we can help. And the first and most important supplement I want to include here is the baseline supplement Formula 4. So Formula 4 is a multi-mineral, multivitamin. And the reason why I put it at the top of the list is, for one thing, many people who are substance abusers may not want to buy many things. So if they are only willing to buy one thing, then I would say Formula 4 is an excellent choice, because it's one item, one capsule, which maybe they would be able to take every day. And since it has got small amounts of everything that they need, it helps them to actually fill many of the nutritional gaps that they may have in their diet. Then beyond Formula 4, we can go to omega-3 salmon oil, which is very excellent because it helps the brain to regenerate itself. Most of the substances which are abused because of their effect on the brain. And unfortunately, the effects to some people may be pleasant, but to the brain itself, it will be harmful and damaging. It may damage the nerves, it may damage the brain tissue itself. And so the omega-3 salmon oil gives the brain the material it needs for regenerating the damaged tissues within itself. It also helps in reducing inflammation. When substances are being abused, the body reacts by being inflamed. And the inflammation can show itself. The person might be swollen. They may start putting on weight This is all signs of that inflammation, and omega-3 helps the body to tackle that. Also, omega-3 will help in improving brain function and improving and withdrawing the symptoms of withdrawal when the person has started the recovery process. So for that reason, omega-3 is a very important supplement to recommend. Then the next, I will speak about a number of supplements, and they are all very, very important. So it's not a matter of that we'll have 2 or 3. I think these are all very important because we are dealing with something which is so very serious. So after omega-3, I wanted to mention vitamin B complex. And this is because it's common for substance abusers to be deficient in this vitamin, because a lot of those substances prevent the body from absorbing the vitamin B properly. So for that reason, even though it might be in their, it may or may not be in their diet, but even if it is, they would have a difficult time absorbing it. So as they start to detox and to recover, they need to have vitamin B complex in their diet, because it also helps against things like depression. It helps against mood disorders. And when they are going through the withdrawal symptoms, they really need all the help they can get to keep from being too depressed and too downcast that they give up and go back to abusing the substance they've been abusing. So vitamin B complex, very important. Especially of note here is people who abuse alcohol are very deficient in vitamin B complex because of the alcohol's tendency to stop its absorption. Then the next very important is magnesium. I know that it's not in all markets as a standalone supplement. In certain markets, we have, like in Southern Africa, we have magnesium as a standalone supplement. But if you do not have it, then of course you'd have to resort to either CalMag or multimineral alfalfa, which also have magnesium in them. But where possible, the standalone magnesium is important. And that is because the alcohol, once again, and other substances that are abused tend to cause the body to flush out magnesium. So you would be losing the magnesium you're getting in your diet. And for that reason, it is important to include the supplementation. And the reason for it is that magnesium is very necessary for someone who is withdrawing from abuse, because it reduces anxiety and it helps sleep and relaxation. And you know, the thing of giving up abusing substances is that there'll be a lot of anxiety because the person is not sure whether they'll be able to manage to stay away from the substance they're abusing. And the anxiety worsens at night because they might not be able to sleep, and they may get restless and may even be tempted to go out and look for the substance that they have been abusing. So magnesium helps a lot in reducing that anxiety, in helping to sleep and to relax, as well as helping them to start reducing dependence on the presence of the drug. And it also reduces the withdrawal pains that they may have. Then the next one is zinc. So chelated zinc is very important for people who are recovering from drug addiction, because it's another one that is depleted by the drugs that are being abused. And also it is depleted by strong pain medication. So if someone is using, even just using or abusing strong pain medication, one of the things they may have a deficiency in is zinc. So for that reason, chelated zinc is an important addition. And deficiency in zinc worsens anxiety once again. And it also worsens, if there isn't zinc, they'll have a worse craving. So they will be craving the substance they've been abusing. Then the next is vitamin C. So vitamin C sustained release is important here because it helps with detoxing every cell in the body. So vitamin C is very important for the detox process, because for the body to start reducing dependence on the substance, it needs to be removed from the system, and vitamin C is going to play an important role there. It also helps in stabilizing the mood because it gives the body what it needs to make its happy mood hormones. So the hormones, our bodies have the ability to actually produce hormones that make us feel we are okay and we are even happy. But as a result of depending on substance abuse, we lose that ability and we start relying on the substance we are abusing. Because as we increase the use of those substances, our bodies stop producing our own natural happiness hormones. So vitamin C is going to help the body to start making those happiness hormones once again. And by so doing, it will reduce the withdrawal symptoms. Then another one, which I wanted to include, is vitamin D. And we know that I'm always mentioning this, maybe you are new, but I'm always mentioning that in Africa, we are lucky because we have got plenty of sunshine. And so by spending some time in the sun every day, a minimum of 20 minutes with short-sleeved clothes and maybe shorts, then we would be, our skins are actually able to make the vitamin D that we need. And for that reason, it's not always necessary to supplement with the vitamin A plus D or the vitamin D. But if for some reason, maybe the person is housebound and does not go outside, or if they are afraid to go out because the temptation to look for the drugs is too much, then it might be important to supplement the vitamin D if the option of spending time in the sun is not there. Of course, if you come from the more temperate countries, during winter especially, it's essential to supplement with vitamin D because this vitamin plays a very, very important role in combating depression, lack of sleep, and anxiety once again. So this is going to help to keep the person from being depressed and also help them to get sleep. So by spending some time in the sun, they are going to help themselves in that way. So then the last supplement I wanted to mention here is NutriShake. NutriShake is our protein supplement. It also contains the broad range of vitamins and minerals, and it has all the amino acids that our body needs to build protein. So we know that it is going to play an important role, not only in helping our body to recover from the damage that the substances have been causing, but also it helps the body in making hormones that will help in reversing some of the effects of that the drugs have had on the person. The brain tissues, which would have been damaged, will be repaired with the help of the amino acids in NutriShake. At the same time, there is a certain lack of mental energy and weariness that a person who is trying to recover from drug abuse goes through, and NutriShake helps in this. It will also be useful to use NutriShake if the person has got a poor appetite or does not want to eat other healthy proteins. So NutriShake would be a good place to start. But of course, we will also say that something that we always mention, exercise and incorporating movement in the life of a person recovering is very important because we know this is an important ingredient of good health. Also, of course, adequate sleep will be very important when they can. And that is why some of the supplements we'll be recommending will be helping them to sleep. Something I wanted to mention is that someone might be tempted when they are recovering from abusing one substance to replace it with another one. So for example, if someone has been abusing certain tablets, when they stop it, then they start getting an urge to take food which has a lot of sugar. But sugar, as we know, is a very harmful substance. So it is not beneficial to stop abusing, let us say, alcohol, and then start taking a lot of cakes and biscuits and all this. Maybe you have noticed, for instance, that people who are giving up cigarettes may now start transferring their craving for cigarettes to eating a lot of food. And usually it's bad food. So it's good to be aware of this, that sometimes this addiction is so strong that if you remove one thing, the body starts looking for alternative things to be addicted to, and just to be aware of that. Then I think I shall need to stop there because I already have borrowed a few minutes from Pascal, but I'm really hoping that We will go out there and try to help whenever we can, because we know that substance abuse is damaging our societies at every level. It's damaging our young people, it's damaging our middle-aged people who have got very many responsibilities, and it's even reaching into younger and younger members of our population. So wherever we can, we should really make an effort to help. And of course, also to examine around us if someone's maybe social use of alcohol is getting out of hand. They might not be aware. It might require that something is mentioned about it. If it's we ourselves, to maybe examine if we have become too dependent on a certain substance for our feelings of well-being. I want to thank you very much for your attention, and to hope that this session has been of value to you, and that you will go out and help people who are in this predicament. And now I want to hand you over to Pascal, who is patiently waiting to take you for the next session. Thank you very much, and have a good evening.
Thank you very much, Betty. I see, Oloo is saying from Lagos, he's saying bye-bye. Yeah, in fact, I saw the team from Lagos taking notes very vigorously. So we really appreciate, and all those people who have taken notes. I see Faith there holding a baby and listening keenly to the presentation. We thank you all of you very much. And I think Betty has done a very good session. And those of you who did not have time to take notes were listening very intently. This presentation has been recorded by Paul. If you want to get a copy, you can get a copy later and go through it again, because I think that information is really, really useful for ourselves, for our families, and for our loved ones. But the other thing I'd like to share with you this evening is that, you see, the reason why I really love this business is that if you build it correctly, you can have time to deal with some of these issues if your family is affected by it. You know, when you work at a 5 to 9 job and your family needs your attention, it becomes between your family and your boss. So the topic I want to share with you this evening is called building structure. What does that mean? Building structure means first of all, you need to understand a Neolife compensation plan. Neolife's compensation plan is called the breakaway system. That means you need to learn how to build it so that you have a stable business and you qualify at your level month in, month out, so that you maximize the amount of money you earn in this business. So how do you build structure in this business? Let me share the screen with you. Slideshow, current. All right, so I want to discuss with you something called structure for diamond, because all those who start the business, their goal is to become diamond. What is a diamond director? A diamond director in our business is somebody whose group PV has reached 200,000 a month. They have got 10 director legs, and their income is fairly good. Their income is way about $10,000 a month. Okay, so that is what a diamond director structure is. There is 1 diamond up to 5 diamond. But you see, for you to be able to get there, you need to know what you are doing. A leader in this business does not just sponsor anybody. I mean, sponsor somebody for the sake of it. Why do you sponsor somebody in this business? We sponsor somebody in this business to build a director. That is the only reason we sponsor somebody in the business, because if you sponsor somebody and you help them become a director, the company compensates you by paying you a leadership development bonus. If you go to your compensation plan, you will see essentially 3 types of bonuses. One is sales volume bonus. That is a bonus you earn from your nursery, people who are not directors. Number 2, you get leadership development bonus when you start developing leaders in your team. And number 3, you get network development bonus when you become a president's team member. But what do you need to do to get to 1 ruby, 2 ruby, 3 ruby? You need to build directors. How do you do it? Do the basics, the first and foremost. You see, how do we earn money in our business? We earn money in our business when we move products from Neolife to different customers, either ourselves or our customers. But how do we do it? We do it when we follow three natural laws. The law of sowing and reaping, that means we talk to people. The law of increasing returns is that when we talk to people who talk to others, and others bring others. And number three is the principle of delayed gratification. You have to wait for a growing season to reap from the effort you put into the business. Okay? So using those three laws, what is the first step for building structure? The first step we call building width. Building width is potential volume. And when you start the business, you need to go 4 to 6 wide as quickly as possible. How do you do this? You do the basics. Build a name list, learn how to invite, show the plan to those who are interested, follow up and close your prospect. Okay, that is what building width is. And because I like sketching things, it makes things clearer for me. This little representation, if the smiling face is your face, okay, and you want to build your business, the first thing you need to do is to build width. Width are the people you sponsor or recruit directly under you. In this example, this person has gone 7 wide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people wide. So you have gone 7 wide. You sponsored P, J, K, O, X, C, W. These are people's name. I just used the letters to give us an example. Okay, so you've sponsored 7 different people in your business. We say that you're 7 wide. But how do you build a stable business? How do you make sure that each leg generates volume and become a director? You need to start building depth. Building depth, for example, you sponsor somebody's Okelo, Onyango, Oloo, Femi, whoever it is. If you sponsor that person, you don't leave them alone. You see, this business is like raising children. When you give birth to a child, you don't tell the child, okay, I've given birth to you, find your way. No, you take care of the child, you make sure the child is fed, you pay attention to the child, you help them to walk, you help them to have order, to sleep enough, to have good nutrition, to have good cleanliness habits, all those things. Okay? So how do you build depth? What you do is you tell, okay, I've helped you, you've joined my business. Now I want to help you grow your business. Remember, the key word here is help. Don't do for your downlines what they should do for themselves. For example, if somebody joined the business, within 1 week, they should be able to order products themselves. You don't need to order products on their behalf or for them. Okay? So you tell, okay, you started the business. The first thing I'd like you to do is write a name list. Then I will help you to speak. I will help you to speak to your prospects because I'm more experienced. So you help O to sponsor. So out of the list that O has, let me say O has 20 people on the list. You help O speak to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people on that list until they sponsor somebody. When they do that, you tell them, okay, you've seen how I have helped you sponsor somebody. Just do what I have done. Let me help number 2 to do what I have done with you. So you tell number 2, okay, you started the business, write a name list. Let me help you build your business. So you help number 2 also to sponsor other people. They write a name list. You go with them to prospect. You explain the business on their behalf while they are watching to learn. When eventually number 2 will sponsor number 3. Then you change your focus, you go to number 3, you tell number 2, okay, I've shown you how to build the business, I've shown you how to write the name list and explain the business to new people. I've shown you how to close prospects. Let me help your new downline, number 3. So you do the same with number 3. The idea is to bring each leg 12 levels deep. By the time this leg is 12 levels deep, it should already be approaching to become a director. That's how you build structure, and that's how you build wealth, and that's how you build wealth in this business. Because you are rewarded according to the number of directors you build. So if I go back to the previous screen, so we build depth, go to 4 to 6 wide. Once you've done that, then you need to change your focus to, you need to change your focus to the person next on a deeper level. Building depth. Building depth means you go in each leg 12 to 14 deep. You work on what you call the taproot. You see, always think of this business as a tree. How do you make a tree strong and stable? The tree must have very deep roots. Why? Because the roots is where the tree draws nutrients from the ground. This is where the tree draws your super grow or the fertilizer, all those things. So you work on what we call the taproot. The taproot is the lowest place in each leg that you work in because it creates excitement. For example, if you would go back to this sketch I've just shown you, this one. You see, let's say, for example, you sponsored O, is very excited, and you help him sponsor number 2 and number 3. Then O starts to become, they don't want to face the business, they're tired of doing the business, they always give excuses. But if O sees that number 3 is really on fire and building the business, they're likely to see, okay, number 3 is going to overtake me. They may even become director before me. You see, when a building is burning, when the top floor is burning, let me say you are on the 8th floor and floor number 15 is burning, you're not in a hurry to get down. But if you are on the if you are on the top floor and the second or third floor is burning, you want to get out of that building as fast as possible and get down. A similar thing happens in our business. If somebody under a new distributor is really on fire, the person above them also is likely to get on fire, because that is how our business works. When you see somebody in your business whom you've sponsored is really on fire, in fact, this happened to us when we started the business. We joined the business in March 1996. Then in April, I think we sponsored our first person, Joshua and Dorcas Ouma. And then Joshua and Dorcas Ouma, when we became managers, they also became managers. When they became senior managers, we also became senior managers. When we became directors, they became directors. When we became Sapphire directors, they became Sapphire directors. So they were putting a lot of pressure on us to build a large network, and that's how our business. You need people like that to always keep you on your toes. All right? So 2 things about building correct structure. Go wide and go deep. If you do these things, you will have a very stable business that once the duplication process starts, it begins to grow with or without you. But that leads me to something else. Focus on what duplicates, not what works for you. What I mean by that is this. Try and use the system as much as possible. Using the system simply means teach your people to invite to the presentations, either the Monday evening presentations or the ones you have in your local office or with your local leader. Just teach them how to invite. Why am I saying that? Because a new person needs to know that they can also build the business without having 3, 4, 5 years experience. Okay? So teach them how to invite, teach them how to close prospects, then teach them how to do the 4 basics: writing a prospect list, inviting, showing the plan, and closing. And then you need to develop the right attitude. This is the key of the business. If you develop the right attitude, your business will grow. And then don't aim at motivation, because motivation goes up and down. Aim at developing discipline. Discipline is doing the things you have planned to do, whether you feel like doing it or not. And I think for me, for many years, this has been my biggest challenge, is that I would go for a rally, I would get very excited, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then life happens, my motivation goes down, my business slows down. If you want to be successful, learn to develop discipline. Discipline simply means you do what is required, whether you feel like it or not. Okay? Keep your eyes on the future, not what you're going through, because sometimes we are always tempted. I read a quote some time ago that really captured my mind. Do not look at what you're going through, but look at where you are going to, because that makes a difference. All right? And also the thing that has helped me through the years is a concept called having a cookie jar. What is that? A cookie jar simply means you need to have a mental record of your past successes, because it will show you that actually this business you can build it. If you sponsored one person, you can sponsor two, you can sponsor four, you can sponsor 10, you can build a team of 100. Okay? So have a mental memory of the things you have achieved successfully in the past. And that leads me to the last aspect I wanted to talk to you about. That is sharpening the saw. What is sharpening the saw? Sharpening the saw means that you take time to build yourself as a human being. And I'll give you some ideas on which areas of life. You see, we are rational beings. We are made of matter and spirit. Matter is our physical body. Spirit is our spiritual faculties that helps us to be rational beings. Okay? And you need to develop yourself in all these areas. So how do you sharpen the saw? First and foremost, you need to get yourself into an exercise program. If you have not done exercise for a long time, start by walking 10, 15 minutes until it becomes a daily habit. Once it is a daily habit, then go to the next. If you like jogging, go jogging. If you like to lift weights, lift weights. In fact, your body you can develop very strong muscle by just using your body. You don't need to buy weights. Right? If your weight is 80 kilograms, if you do push-ups, that's a lot of work. So, exercise program. 2, you need to have good nutrition, because you see, you are the brand ambassador of your business. When people look at you, the thing they ask themselves is this: do I want to look like this guy? Are they healthy? You're selling health products, and when they look at you, you look very tired and exhausted, and you're not attractive to anybody. So you need to take good nutrition to make sure that you are tip-top shape. Number 3 is mental development. You need to develop yourself mentally. How do you do that? You need to read at least 15 minutes every day. There are hundreds of, in fact, if you go to the Getting Started document that Neolife produces, I think it's either page 13 or page 14, they have recommended a few books in that page. Number 1 is called How to Win Friends and Influence People. Number 2, How I Brought Myself from Failure to Success by Selling, by I think it's called Frank Bettker. And then Go Pro, How to Become the seven skills to develop to become a professional network marketer. Okay, they are wonderful, excellent books that have been recommended on that page. Buy a book at least once every 3 months. My recommendation is, do not be the person who reads the most books. Be the person who reads the best books the most. That means if you buy Think and Grow Rich, read that book over and over and over and over again. If you buy a GoPro by Eric Worre, read that book over and over again until you memorize everything in that book. That's how you become skilled and effective in this business. Okay? So, mental preparation. The next thing you need to do is your relationships. How are your relationships with your spouse, with your children, with your friends, with your team members? On a scale of 1 to 10, do you actually rate yourself? How is my relationship with these people? You see, in this business, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. When you do that, you will find that your business will grow because people will start seeking you for information and support. Okay? Another way of sharpening the saw is you need to have discipline in terms of mental schedule. Discipline simply means that the night before, have a program of what you're going to do the next day and stick to it as far as possible. I'm not saying if there's an emergency, you don't change. You can change because that's why we are human. We make choices. But schedule the things you want to do every day and make sure you do those things that you plan to do, whether you feel like it or not. Because sometimes we are ruled with our feelings. When you don't feel like doing anything, you say, okay, I'll do it later. The next day, the same thing. The third day, the same thing. And nothing changes. Okay? So maintain simple discipline to improve yourself. So if you want to sharpen the saw, make sure that every area of your life, you pay attention. Your physical health, physical activity, your nutrition, your mental activity, read books every single day. In fact, if you want to succeed in this business, work the hardest on yourself than in the business. Because when you work on yourself, you become a much better person, you tend to attract better human beings. That's the key of the business. If you do that, your business will grow. You're not paid according to what you want, you're paid according to who you are. That's it. It took me a long time to understand this concept, and I realized that I can actually write my own paycheck by spending time to become a better human being. If you read a book for 15 minutes every day, it will take you about a month to finish a 200-page book. That means if you're reading the same book, you'll have read it 12 times in a year. Just think about it. If you read the same book 12 times in a year, you'll be way ahead of everybody else. And that's what brings success. It's called spaced repetition. If you want to succeed, you need to learn how to repeat something so much until it becomes second to nature. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure for me and Betty to spend this evening with you. I want to wish you success, not luck. I want to wish you success because success has a price, and that price is simply self-discipline. So, Paul, I want to hand over back to you to close our meeting. So, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Pascal and Betty, for taking us through those two sessions, which are very important. I've been able to receive a lot of WhatsApp messages from people who are watching and listening, and they are talking about how those two sessions will be able to help them to continue to position their business. So we thank you so much for your time that you have taken to prepare. I know that is a lot of preparation to be able to put the sessions together and everything that you normally do for the team in East Africa and across the world. Yeah, as I close, I just wanted to remind the East Africa distributors that our new price list, the last day to use the old price list is tomorrow, Friday. Come Monday, 22nd, we are going to be on the new price list. So we need to pass the information to our distributors so that they are not disappointed in any way or the other. So that by tomorrow, you can be able to finish all the orders which are coming to you using the old price list. And 22nd, which is on Monday, we are going to go full swing to the new prices, which most of you have been able to receive either a soft copy or a hard copy. So that is important for us to be able to watch out. And the other thing is about a month end. It's not too far from now. So start looking at your goals and position your team to be able to give you a good close of the month. And in the month of December, we're going to have our end of the year meetings, distributor rallies. In Kenya, it's going to happen on the 4th of December at KICC. And in Uganda and Tanzania, it's going to happen simultaneously on the 11th of December. So we need to look out at those dates. We are going to send the flyers so that you can start inviting people to come and see what is happening in our business. A lot of good things have been able to happen this year, and we want to celebrate together. just like we did during the convention, and that would be a good place to be. So as we come to the end of our session, I just want to remind you the information that we get here, it's quite crucial for you to just not to put it in practice. And the best way to put it in practice is to use it in your own circumstances, and also go out there, use that information to give that information to your customers, to your distributors, so that they can continue to build a good business. So make sure you use it. Information, it's only power when you put it in action. So let's go out there, put it in action, and we'll be able to see a change in our business as we continue to build from wherever we are building from. So from me, Pascal and Betty, we just want to thank you so much for giving us your 1 hour. And we hope that the information that we have given you to be able to help you to build your business. So from us, thank you so much. Have a lovely evening. See you tomorrow in your respective countries. If you are in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, see you tomorrow as you put in the orders for this month using the old price list. The rest of the world, thank you so much. Good night, good day from wherever you're watching us. Bye-bye and good night. Thank you, Pascal and Betty. Good night. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Paul. Good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.